We also, after we watched the Joker, just yesterday, we watched Terrifier 3. Yeah, I want to preference it by saying this. I love horror. Horror is my favorite. Well, I would say it's one of my favorite genres of film. And I think that the one thing I'm not a big fan of is gore. I've never been a big gore guy. I've always been more suspense and scares. And of course, when you got a movie like this or a movie like Saw, a franchise like Saw, it's all built on gore. That's really what it's, pushed forward. And I watched Terrifier 1, I remember, a while ago, man. When it first came out, it was on Netflix, and I was like, you know what? I'll watch this movie. I thought it was hilarious. I loved it. I loved that there wasn't a story. It was just a typical slasher. The gore was good, but it wasn't overdone, and I really, really liked the original Terrifier. So Brayden was like, yeah, hey, when we got 2, and then Brayden's like, yo, 3's coming out, let's make it happen. I'm like, I bet. So we went and watched Terrifier 3 like I said, yesterday. Brayden, what's your experience with the Terrifier franchise? When did you watch 1, and what were you thinking about going in this film?
Yeah, so Terrifier 1 came out. I watched it probably like half a year after it came out. Like, I wasn't super drawn to it, but maybe not even that long. Maybe it was like 2-3 months after. Like, I remember I wasn't like the initial hype, but I was coming towards the end of the hype because I was like, well, I kind of do want to watch it. It seems interesting. So I eventually checked it out, and I just remember watching it, and I was like, wow, this is fucking wild because there's like, not too much to the story, and it's just like everyone's getting slaughtered, and it was just like it was clear as hell that they were trying to push. That was like the big thing, that like establishing a killer like that, and just trying to make it as gory as possible. And then when I saw on the internet, people were seeing this one, and people like they were like posting reactions to the movie, and people needed barf bags in some theaters. I was like, dude, it's got to be that freaking crazy. Yeah. So, when I was looking at the movies, I saw it came out this weekend, and it's, number 1 in the box office right now. I was like, dude, independent horror, we got to do it. Let's check it out. So
yeah. So
we are.
There you go. We went and watched it, and I like. Look, man, this is definitely the most disturbing movie I've ever seen. I think that's no question. Hard to watch, man. The way they marketed it was true. The first scene, the opening sequence.
Opening scene, little girl thinks it's Santa. She tells her parents she hears something on the roof. They go to bed. She goes downstairs, finds Santa, hides. Dude, we get the most creepy shot of just him like this weird walk that's so creepy. It felt like video game, like animated.
Yeah.
And he walks in like the kid's bedroom, and then he's like, Sienna or whatever, da da da. He's like, get out of my room. I told you not to. And then you just hear this like 7-year-old boy get mutilated.
We're seeing this from the girl's point of view, the little girl, because she doesn't want to obviously mess with Santa. You know what I mean? She doesn't want to interrupt Santa and then not get presents. So she's watching it happen, and she sees him goes up this, like Brayden was saying, go up the steps and go to the boys' room. So you don't see it, but you hear it, like Brayden said, just hear, and you just like hear the blood gushing and stuff. It's crazy. And before this, there's a whole sequence of the mom and dad, which I actually really liked the mom character. She was, I don't know who the actress was, but she did a pretty good job, and I really liked her character.
Yeah, the aunt.
Yeah, and she was like, the aunt, no, I'm talking about the opening.
Yeah.
And I really liked her character, and she goes down, and she sees that the door's open, and she's like, oh. That's not good.
And lock the door.
Yeah, and she goes up. She says, "Hey," to her husband. She's like, "Hey, it happened again. You left the door open." And then we see the whole sequence of the Art the Clown go in the boys' bedroom, and then walk to the mom and dad's room, and you just see you see it from the mom's point of view. She turns over, and Art's just going in on the dad, dude, just going crazy. And then she has one of the coolest sequences. One of the coolest death sequences I would say in this film, where she just starts going downstairs and he starts going after her and keeps cutting her arms off and her legs and her head. This movie just went 10 times worse than the first and second movie. It gets gorier and gorier, which is not my cup of tea, but it was crazy. You felt for like, I think this was the scariest part of the film, because it's a lot like Strangers, like the original Strangers film that came. Have you ever seen Strangers?
Yeah.
It's a lot like that. What makes that scary is that can happen to anyone.
The only good one.
Yeah, exactly. That's what makes it scary. Is they could just anyone can come right in your house and just kill you. That's crazy to think about. And that's what's terrifying about this first bit, no pun intended, is he literally makes his way into this house and starts killing these people. You feel for this family, dude. And then so the mom just starts getting destroyed. She, by the way, before she gets killed, runs into the little boy's bedroom, sees her kid dead. So disturbing.
Yeah,
bro.
like mutilated,
dude. Like this hit me hard, man. And then she sees her kid dead. She just saw her husband dead. Runs downstairs. Does not know where her daughter is. She assumes her daughter's dead. Doesn't know where. She's like, my daughter's dead. My daughter's dead.
She tries to escape.
He tries to escape, and then Art kills her. And then after he kills her, the little girl makes a sound, hiding in the cabinets, and he goes over and looks at her, and that's how it ends. So, bro, just like absolutely brutal.
Yeah.
Insane.
And then, yeah, that's the craziest opening ever.
It was crazy.
And then, it just opens up with Sienna coming, and she's like her uncle. Well, I guess maybe it's her uncle-in-law. It seemed like. You know. Well,
it opens with the ending of Terrifier 2, with the Art's decapitated body.
Yes, and then the prison.
Yeah, and then the
asylum.
Exactly. So then the guy pulls up, Jericho. The cop pulls up. Art's body is decapitated, and then his head pops up, and then they kill the cop. And then they go back to the asylum, like Brayden said, with the girl from the original movie and the second movie, the girl that rips off the face of the interviewer.
Yeah,
and
Victoria or whatever.
Yeah, and then Art and her kind of get back together again, and then kill a few people there. So now they're good again. They're in this house. Then these two people visit the house, the Art's lair or whatever, which is the first time we've actually seen the lair, I believe, in the Terrifier franchise.
Yeah, because that was the thing. Like they both got their head on the bodies and stuff. Like Vicky and him both had their own distinct head on the body, and then they went back to, which I actually really like the scene where the other Terrifier was on the subway and they let him they didn't do anything to him.
Yeah.
I thought that was funny as hell. But yeah, they went to the lair, and then they just went into hybrid. She slit her wrist in the bathtub and he sat in the chair, and then they just fermented into the house,
which was crazy.
Yeah, that was crazy. I didn't really understand the purpose of that. Maybe they just felt like it was over. For now.
I didn't understand the purpose of that either, because what ignites them to come back is these two guys that are, why were they there?
The workers. I think they were just cleaning the house, they're construction people who are repoing it or breaking the house down.
Okay, yeah. So these two workers pull up, and then they find the girl in the bathtub, of course, and then Art the clown.
One of them,
the chair.
yeah. One of them has one of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They separate. They find them, and then they both get killed by one gets killed by Art, the other gets killed by the girl in the bathtub. And that's kind of how they're reignited again. And it's Christmas time now, which is a really cool concept. And then they start going. Then they somehow make their way back to our main character. So let's start talking about Sienna coming back. So we got Sienna, Jonathan that are back again. These are the two kids from the Terrifier 2 film. They're continuing that story. She's visiting her aunt and her niece. I don't know how far the town is from the other town, but she's visiting her family, and still dealing with the events, of course, of Terrifier 2.
Yeah, they talk about her being on medication, and she sees flashbacks and sees therapists and stuff.
Mm-hmm. She's messed up, and rightfully so. Anyone's gonna be messed up from that, man. She saw all our friends die. And her mom, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That was a crazy death. That was, the shotgun was insane. But no, so anyway, so she runs into her family. They hang out, and she's visiting them. And she has a journal that she writes in. And her niece, she told her niece, hey, don't read this at all. Don't read any of it. Her niece read it. And she found out
tell
through
a little
stupid
kid not
thing.
to do something.
They're gonna do it.
They do it. Yeah.
And this wasn't the worst kid character in a movie, but I was not a fan of the niece. I was like, I cannot wait for this little girl to get just thrown off of a roof. And that just did not happen. She actually got thrown into hell. But
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean, yeah, it depends on how you look at it, but I think she got a worse fate.
yeah, no, honestly. Wait, which was something that's really interesting because Brayden brought up a good point. I don't think she's dead, and probably not, which we'll get to in a little bit, just because of what happened in the second movie when what's her
Yeah,
name, Sienna got thrown into that little pit, the devil pit or whatever, and she goes back
yeah,
into that dream and then comes back. So I don't know what's gonna happen there. They're definitely setting up a fourth one with that. But that's a whole
yeah.
nother story. Um, so anyway, um, here's the thing though, Sienna visiting her family, she can't be too far away from her hometown because Jonathan is in the same town she's in. Remember?
Well,
Remember?
he ended up, I agree. He ended up going to college, but they make it seem like, but that's the thing though, she leaves. I don't think maybe they're still in the same town because she just leaves town, remember? That's why she was like, don't ever
Right.
leave us again.
Right.
So it might be more of the fact
She's
that she,
visiting,
like, they're
back visiting.
still, yeah, she just
Mm.
came back, like, from wherever she went
Okay,
to.
that makes sense. That makes sense. Um, so yeah, so Jonathan's in the same town. She has you got these stupid side characters I don't really care for. Jonathan's new friends from college or whatever.
Yeah, like
You got
the roommate and the girl that's like obsessed with their
the hot
story.
one, yeah. So
Yeah.
you got them, which they have a really cool death. One of the coolest sequences later
Yeah.
on in the film, which is kind of crazy. But
Definitely kind of crazy.
definitely. Um,
I
so
think the mall was still
the
the one
mall
I
was
was like,
pretty gnarly. The mall. So anyway, so that we'll go to that. So
yeah.
it's Christmas time. They go to the mall. It's Sienna and her niece. They get pretty
Yeah,
close.
for the context for this, just before we keep going, like the uncle has been talking to the aunt, and like Sienna and the niece have been hanging out a lot, and like, they're getting a little bit closer, but like they're trying to be like, the uncle's like, we should be mindful, like don't let her get too close. And uh they end up going to the mall that day, like you said, and then they're like shopping for just like Christmas stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. So they're just going there, hanging out. And then while they're there, well actually no, not while they're there, but literally right after they leave, Art the Clown shows up at this place. And there's also before this though, you have the whole Santa thing. Remember?
Yeah,
Sorry, we'll get to that. So
the
before any of
bar.
this happens, yeah, there's a bar scene where he pulls up to this bar, and there's a Santa and like two other
It's like
guys
the
there.
night before because they go to the mall like
Yeah,
early in the morning after they wake
exactly.
up.
So this is the night before. He's in town now. He just gets in town, and after traveling once again on the train and stuff, and he gets here, and he goes to this bar with these three guys. One of them is dressed up as Santa, and it's so funny in the scene. He pulls up. He's like, he's freaking out. He's like a Santa Claus, dude. He points at the sign. He's all happy, jumping around. Really funny performance, dude, by the guy that plays him. And
It's
runs
funny. It was
over.
actually going all so well for him. Like they bought
Yeah.
him a drink and stuff, and like I guess Art just didn't realize, and he spits the drink in the dude's face that bought it for him, and then everyone kind of turns on him.
Well, they thought that was funny, but then he peed. Remember?
Oh
He
yeah,
started
yeah. Then
peeing
he
on him.
peed.
Yeah, and,
Yeah.
and he was like, "What are you doing, dude?" And that's kind of what ignited
What
everything.
are
And
you
then he just
doing, dude?
no, literally, and then he started killing him. And started with the worker, and then the other guy, or the main guy that owned the bar, the other dude, and then the
And
Santa
Santa.
kill was the coolest one because he like kidnapped him, or not kidnapped, but like tied him up, put him or hit him on the head, tied him up, put him on a chair, and then had the liquid nitrogen that was gonna freeze him, and
Froze
he
the shit.
froze him, and then just started beating him up, dude. It was crazy,
Yeah.
brutal. God, it was brutal. And then put the snowman nose into his face. That was
Into his
pretty funny.
face. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
crazy.
Crazy kill.
So that was the night before. So that's the first time we see Art kind of go
Kind of
crazy.
go ham. Yeah.
Um,
Then we get to the mall.
and then we get to the mall, and
Santa at the mall is like, having fun with all the. That
oh,
sounds so
Art
weird. I was
steals
like,
the Santa costume from the guy. By the way,
yeah, Art steals the Santa costume, and when this Santa, he's like done having like the kids ask him like what they want for Christmas, he's taking a break. He goes in the back, and Art comes out with a bag of his own. And honestly, you think from every movie, dude, it's gonna be like the tool of like murder weapons, but to our surprise, it was gifts. And the first kid comes over, and they all storm over, and they get all the gifts, and they're pulling out the gifts in the bag. Everyone's going back to their parents until it finally gets on the last parent. And I looked at Logan, and I called it like right before it happened. I have a weird feeling. The last kid, out of everyone gets like an actual present, he gets a box like wrapped, and I was like, oh no, dude. And he starts to unwrap it. And as he opens it, I predicted, I was like, it's a bomb. He opens the box. And right when he goes, dude, it it literally pans in on like, I couldn't even believe this. Like, this is, pardon me, this is horrible. It's like dead children.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's like insane. I was like, Damien, holy shit, dude. Like, that's why for me, like, that might have been the craziest part because it's like, you know what I mean? Like, what?
I don't know why
So,
you would people. Yeah, I don't know why people get enjoyment out of that. It's crazy to me.
like, it's insane.
That was too much, man.
Insane.
Yeah,
And then they
because
kind of
by the
just
way,
like,
that's not the first time they show a dead kid because they showed the kid earlier in the opening
yeah,
scene. That was crazy. So
yeah,
yeah, that scene was insane, man. And then they get home, and by the way, this whole time Sienna's having these visions
visions, like she
of
sees
of
them.
Art, and then she sees on the news, 5 people are dead, 6 people are dead, 20 critically injured or in critical condition. Art's back, and it's going crazy. He escapes, and that's kind of when everything starts to go down.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah, I like the big reveal. Like the uncle is watching it on the TV at home, and like there's like the Homers at like the mall, and she's like, "Oh my god!" Like we were just there today. Like I saw him.
she freaks
And
out.
was that before or after she read the journal?
This is after, I believe.
Right? Yeah. So there's just like the slight scene before. I think they show them like they get home, they have dinner, and like she like right before dinner, she's like, "Oh yeah, you don't like cereal," and she was like, "Hey, can we go upstairs real quick?" And she was like, "How would you know that?"
Yeah.
And then we find out she's been reading her journal, and it cuts back to they're like, "Let's play for a little," and then they come downstairs, and then on the news it talks about the murders, and
Yeah.
Sienna has a crash out moment, and they're like, "You got to go get my brother, go get my brother."
Yep.
She ends up going to sleep, you know.
The dad goes to go get or the uncle goes to go get the brother, and then that cuts
Yep.
to the sequence of the 2 kids. So you have Jonathan and then his 2 friends that we talked about earlier, the boyfriend and girlfriend. So then it cuts to the boyfriend and girlfriend's kill. Their kill's insane. They're in the shower doing
Yeah.
their thing. Art's there just peeing in the urinal,
Oh,
bro, just vibing.
I do want to say, because it's not a big scene, but I think it's a crucial scene we did miss. Right before all this, Sienna does go to try and see him, Jonathan, at school,
Mm.
and the friends like pull up on them, and then like the I think her name was Mia, the hot girl, was like trying to like ask them like what they do in their day to day and how they cope, and then she has a crash out moment, and
Yeah.
Jonathan's like, "Go, like, why the fuck did you do that?" When they're 1-on-1, and they talk
Yeah.
about art, and he basically is just like, "I don't want to do this anymore. Like, drop it, and then
Yeah.
leave me alone." And then yeah, that's right before the whole like they see the murders at the mall, and like she has a crash out moment.
The one thing that I'm not a big fan of this movie is that, and listen, they introduced a story, so you got to give them the credit where credit's due. But there's just so much more depth with that you could have gone in the relationship Jonathan and Sienna's, you know what I'm saying, and dealing with
Yeah.
that which we've seen in so many sequels to horror movies. I know, but just dealing with that experience and that shared trauma, like that's something that's very interesting to dive into.
Yeah.
And they just didn't. They really didn't touch on it too much. Which, like I said, listen, bro, and you're in Terrifier, dog. Like we're not expecting an Oscar worthy story, but it's just such an interesting story that could have been really, really
Touch
well
on
done.
more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm a big fan of the Scream TV series, because that's what they really harped on in the second season of that show. Why it's one of my favorite shows is because they did a really good job of showing that. So and how people don't trust people. You know what I'm saying? Like you see that in Sienna, but not in the relationships around her, and that's
Yeah,
what I'm
right.
not a big fan of. Anyway,
I see
so
that.
so then you cut, like I said, later on, after all that happens, the uncle gets Jonathan. We then cut to the college, and it's the girlfriend and boyfriend. They're in the shower doing their thing, and then he's over there, at the urinal. He has a chainsaw, bro. He revs up the chainsaw.
Yeah, they're like in the shower, like doing their thing,
Yeah.
and then cuts right to the glass.
Yeah. Then they just get the chainsaw to start going in, and they die. It's crazy, bro. They kill the boyfriend first. The boyfriend's like protecting the girl, which is kind of dope, dude. Good for
It was
shout out
like
to my boy.
To compare it, it was definitely kind of like the first movie kill. Like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that chainsaw one where she cuts her in half. Like, that's the best way.
Well,
They're trying to top that with this scene.
Yeah. So then the boyfriend gets chopped up a little bit. He falls to the ground, and then Art lets him go. Then he goes to the girl, and the girl gets messed up, bro. The girl gets messed up bad. He looks
Yeah.
at the girl, and he just goes crazy. He cuts her face, cuts her arms, her legs, her stomach, her sides, everything, bro. And then she's sitting there. She can't even like. Because, by the way, early on in the movie, she was like, what is it like? Because she was talking to Sienna at that moment. She had the crash out.
She's like, I want to see what it's like to, like,
Yeah.
look him in the eye and,
Right.
like, smell him and feel his presence.
Well, she did. She definitely did. And she's like, when you feel his breath on you. And Art let that happen. Art, she's sitting there just like, dude, barely hanging on. She shouldn't even be alive at this point. She's looking at him, and you see the eye-to-eye contact and him breathing on her. And it's that big moment. So she goes out. She gets what she wants. Then he turns to the boyfriend. The boyfriend's on the ground crawling, you know what I mean, trying to get away from Art. And then Art just picks him up, flips him, literally goes right to his crotch, starts there, and just goes up his body with chainsaw.
Yeah. It was insane.
Insane.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah.
That whole sequence was gnarly, man. So then after that,
a good stomach, boys and girls, if you're gonna watch this.
You need to, man. So then that happens, and I thought this was a dream sequence. This messed me up really, really bad. So then we cut back. He's going to get Jonathan. Sienna's upstairs, and then Sienna comes back downstairs to get like a drink or something. Remember?
They're talking shit.
Yeah.
And it's a Terrifier.
I thought this was a dream sequence. At first, I was like, okay, they're going forward with it, whatever. I'm not sold on it. And then it just kept going. I'm like, okay, this is actually a real thing. She comes downstairs. The girl without the face is there. Terrifier's there. And they're like, hi, what's up? I'm going to knock you out. Knocks out Sienna. Sienna wakes up, and you have...
her and the aunt tied up.
Yeah, the aunt's tied up in front of her. And then there's a gift wrapped up in the table in the middle. And
then... we see the dad's head as like the tree ornament on top of the thing.
Star.
And this right before this, he got to the house and like they kind of like hinted to it. He was like, "Where are you? I don't see your car out there." And he was like, "I'm right up beside where you said." He was like, "Okay, I'll be right there." And like his voice changed, and you're like, "Uh-oh."
Yeah.
And then we didn't see them again, and then you just see his head on the tree as like the star. And then there was a body tied up, like slit open that like, you know, Art the Clown was like working on.
Yeah.
And then they're tied up, and then we're like, what the hell? And then were you saying like they had the present on the table?
Right. And then they wake up, they're talking with the Terrifier. Terrifier's messing with them. And dude, it's crazy, bro. The girl without the face has this obsession with rats. And earlier on in the film, they did the liquid nitrogen on the rats, and it was kind of foreshadowing to what happened with the Santa guy. And he uses it a couple times. But dude, they get this like plastic tube with the on, and then he puts it in her mouth, gets a hammer and bangs it into her mouth, bro. I could, you can ask Brayden. I wasn't watching half of this movie because I couldn't do it. You just hear boom, 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 boom. Her mouth gets bigger, and then they get a rat, start putting the rats in her body.
Yeah, they let the rats go down and start eating.
Dude, but before this, they open up the present in the middle because they're like, okay, where's the little girl at?
Gabby.
Where's the little girl? Where's Gabby? And then they're like, okay, I'll show you. Not really, you know. Art doesn't talk, but he's like, all right, bet I'll show you right now. Opens it up. It's a little bird cage.
No, I think it was Vicky that said it though.
Was it Vicky? Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, because Vicky did talk a little bit. So then Vicky opens it up. There's rats in this bird cage with a skull, and you don't know who the skull is. And then and you're like, oh my god, it's Vicky, or not Vicky. Oh my god, it's Gabby. Oh my god, they're freaking out. And then the mom, you know, thinks that. She's like, wow, that's my daughter right there. You killed my daughter. She's freaking out. And then that's when they do the whole thing. Then they take the rats out of the birdcage, put it in the mom's mouth. They start eating through her. They cut the rats out of her body. It was crazy. Dude, it was so messed up, dude. And this whole time, Sienna's sitting there watching this. And what they're trying to do, the reason Art and them are doing this, is they're trying to get the sword from the second film that had the ability to kill them. You can't hurt Art. Art's someone who you just can't kill. He's supernatural. They explain a little bit more in this movie. He's demonic. What the relationship is with the dad, we don't know. The dad had this sword. That's the only thing that can actually hurt these people. And they talked about it. The girl without the face. They're trying to like the demons are using them as vessels.
Yeah, like they're trying to use her as a vessel now.
Yeah. So because it's in Art and it's in the girl without the face. They're demons and it's the vessels, and they're trying to use Sienna's body as a vessel. And also get rid of the weapon that could kill them. So that's why they're doing all this.
They talk about how like Gabby's the only reason she's still holding on.
Yeah.
And then like Gabby and her, or it was like Gabby and her brother, and then they like bring Gabby out, and then we find out Gabby isn't the head in the middle. We're like, oh my god, and then they reveal she's like, well, that's not Gabby. I wonder who it is. And then they put like the glasses on the skull, and you find out it's her brother, and they killed her brother, and then they put that on the freaking. They put that out there, and you're just like, what the fuck?
Which we were talking about. We're like, dude, the fact that they did that to a character that was a huge character in the second film is wild, and they just kind of threw him away like that. Like, he had moments in this third movie, but he really wasn't in it too much. It was crazy.
I know, right? And I do really like his character. You know what I mean?
Hey, he was cool. Hey, what do you mean? What are you talking about?
Hey man, come on, we gotta get out of here. We gotta get out of here.
No, yeah, I don't know why they. It was really weird the way that they did his character, and I don't think they did him well. But whatever. That he's not part of the story now. It's Sienna's story to tell, and eventually, after the mom dies and they can't get the vessel out, they're like Gabby's the only person that's keeping her here. They then pull Gabby out. They've had Gabby the whole time, and Gabby's actually alive, like Brayden was talking about.
Yeah, they start cutting her up and like abusing her shit. It's horrible.
Dude, the hands, they like break her hands on the thing. And then
no, that was the thing. They were like, "Do you want it?" Like they're about to kill her, and they're like, "Oh, it's too bad you didn't let her open her present." And then Vicky was like, "Oh, well, that's not fair. You should get to open the present."
Yeah.
And they had her tied up. They broke her hands, Sienna's hands, and then let her out to open the present.
That was a crazy scene.
Yeah, it was a crazy scene. I made jokes to Logan just because like she went from like smashed hands to like fully capable working hands. We just
to grabbing swords and grabbing stuff and fighting them. I was like,
people. Yeah,
come on, dude. Yeah. I don't care about adrenaline. Your body will physically not let you pick up stuff.
Let you do it.
That's crazy. Your hands are destroyed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She ended up with destroyed palms. Opens it. It's a sword. Stabs Art. Goes. Kills Vicky, rips her shit up, and then it's a 3-way battle between Gabby, her, and Art, and they have this like probably like 7-8 minute fight scene. It's super cool, and they're just going back and forth, just fighting, and kicking, and all this, and then the blood from Vicky's head is like causing like a pit to form around Gabby where she's sitting.
Yeah, and
then as they're finishing the fight, it kind of like the floorboards fall through and Gabby falls in. She's hanging on. She's screaming for Sienna, and she's beating Art the Clown. She has Art the Clown stabbed in the stomach, and she could kill him, but she wants to save Gabby, so she stabs him one more time and like runs over and puts the sword down and holds the blade so she can grab the handle. And she's pulling her up, and Gabby of all people slips off the blade. Not the girl holding the actual blade.
Actually fell off the handle.
The handle, yeah. So she slips off into the pit, and as she falls, like she screams, and then like it just, and then kind of like the color goes away, and it just goes back to like that portal that was open. You can clearly see is now closed. It's just earth and like below floorboards now, and she turns around. Art the Clown has escaped, and then he's just at the bus stop, and he looks quite defeated.
Yeah,
and he just gets on the bus and rides away.
Yep. So. Sienna still has the sword. That's a good thing. My guess is they're going to have to use Art to get to Gabby, is my guess. You know what I'm saying? They're going to have to use him somehow to get to Gabby. I don't know how it's going to happen, but they're going to have to do that. Good news is Sienna has to step up having that sword with her. Even though Art does still have all of his tools and stuff with him. The thing that's the big question is, what kind of connection does Sienna's dad have with Art the Clown? Because he drew Art the Clown in his comic book. We know that for sure. There's some kind of history there we don't know anything about. And that's what I'm very interested in. In this film, there's a moment where it goes back to when they were, little kids, or when Sienna was a little girl, and her dad drew the costume, because he was a comic book drawer and drew like superheroes and stuff. And that was what he did for a living. And he drew a character for Sienna, which is the outfit that she wore in the second film for Halloween. And that's how she got the sword and everything as well from her dad. And as we know in the second film. So while there's a throwback scene, that one of the last times she saw her dad, I believe, he was like, they were sitting in his room, and something started happening. Like this door started like lighting up, and it started banging, and like everything got really red, and he's like, you need to go, I love you, you need to go. She leaves, and then something happens. We don't know what went down. So there's a history there.
She wakes up from the dream, but there was like a history there.
Yeah. Very interesting. So no telling they're going to explore that in Terrifier 4 for sure. We'll see what happens, but I think it's a good way to end it. Is the fourth one?
I agree, because after that point you're explaining too much in the theater of the brain.
You've already explained too much. I've talked to Brayden about this. The good thing about Halloween, the original Halloween, is you don't know what this creature is. You don't know if he's supernatural. You don't know if he's human. You don't know what Michael Myers is. That's what makes him scary. He's a normal guy, but he can get stabbed and stay alive. He can get shot 6 times from Dr. Loomis at the end of the film, fall down, and he's still alive. That's scary. Mm-hmm. Who is this guy? What is he? Is he human? Is he not? Is he supernatural? What's going on? That's how I felt in the original movie with Art. Art got beat up a little bit in that movie, but he stayed alive. He survived it. What made that scary is he human? Is he supernatural? What is Art? And in the second film and the third film, they just made him full demonic, and I hate that.
Yeah,
I hate
they
that.
Make it like an entity.
It's not scary because it's not real. It's
not scary. Damn it!
It makes it less scary as a viewer because it's not grounded. That's my point. So, yeah, I'm not a big fan.
No, I feel you. I agree. That's all I got to say about it. I agree with you 100%. You hit it right in the nail. Hit the nail on the head, baby.
Right then, baby. All right, anything else you want to say on this film, Brayden?
I think this film is a really disturbing film. I think that some people enjoy things like this, weirdly. But I think Terrifier has cemented itself as I think Art the Clown is going to go down in a horror icon for the rest of history. I think the Terrifier movies are going to, get bigger. I think there's going to be not sequels, like spinoffs and stuff and prequels. And I think there's a big thing coming from this series. And I think it's just because they, I said this to Logan, you would never see a studio fund a film like this because of the S-win that they push. But that's also why it's getting as much craze as it is, because they did it all themselves and they did stuff that no one else would do, and they're receiving the attention for it. So,
yep.
If you've seen the movies, check it out. It's definitely the craziest of them all. So,
it's crazy. If you like gore, if you like Saw, if you like the first 2 films, this might be one of your favorites. It's really, really interesting.
It actually has
really
a pretty
well
decent story.
Yeah, it does a good job with it. I think the second one might have been. Yeah, I know. I think the second story might have been a little bit better. For the second film, because it was new and fresh. But this was good though. I just feel like they could have dove a little bit more into the grief section. I'm gonna go and do a rating because I went first the first time. It sucks because I'm not a big gore guy. I'm never gonna watch this movie again because I don't want to watch that stuff. That's just crazy. When you bring kids into it, dude, that's insane. But it's a fun horror movie, though. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. It's good.
Fair.
It's good.
Fair.
I think the first 2 movies are better, I would say. But first movie's amazing, but I think this is a 7.
I'm going to say... I'm going to go 7.9 out of 10.
Yes, sir. Why not 8?
It's not a... All right, fine.
You wanted it.
I'll give it an 8. I was considering it. I was like 7.9. No, we'll give it an 8. It was a bad movie.
Yeah.
No, like it met a lot of good things like from horror movies. It's just a lot. That's like the big negative. It's a lot, and I know that's what they're doing on purpose. So like for people who will that's why I'm saying it's an 8. You'll like the movie, but like it's not for everybody.
Mm-mm. No, definitely very selective. But we need a Terrifier house at Universal.
Horror Nights, bro. Let's get
That'd be crazy.
They're coming out with a game.
Really? Is it a open world or is it?
No, I think it's. I don't know actually. They're coming out with a Quiet Place game.
And Halloween, which is I know the Halloween one's open world. That's gonna be dope. It's actually story driven. It's gonna be so.
Yeah, it's gonna be sick.
Yeah. Like you're just like going to the store, dude. Michael Myers is behind you. You're like, oh shit. I'm just trying to shop at Publix, bro. But yeah, so there you go. 7, 8 out of 10 for both of us, man. You guys let us know your review down below, and if you're watching the review section, go like, subscribe, comment down below, and go visit our website, actorspov.com.
Go visit the website. Please visit the website.
And for everyone watching the full Actors POV episode, we love y'all, man. We love you guys. Brayden, anything you want to say to these people?
Yo, I do have one thing to say. Go check out I Win on Amazon Prime. Your boy is in it. It just dropped. It's a phenomenal coming of the age film, family film. It's got a great story. Yeah, if you want to see Moi, it's on Amazon Prime. Go buy or rent it. We appreciate you and the support. So thank you.
Go check it out, man. Go check it out. You guys will love it. It's a beautiful story. Brayden killed it. Go check that on Amazon Prime. I'll put the link in the description below. Website. We love you guys. Stay safe, baby.